Hello everyone, I hope you're having a beautiful day. I am just out driving to a hair appointment, but I wanted to share with all of you about my trip that I recently took to Veradero, Cuba with my family. Now this was the first trip I have taken since having bilateral otosclerosis, and let me tell you, it went so much better than I thought it was going to. I was so worried and anxious about the whole thing because I knew we would be at the ocean and the pool all day, and I was just really worried about my hearing aids. So before I get into that, let's start at the beginning. Let's go to the airplane portion. Now, this has to be probably my least favorite part of the entire trip, and it's not because my ears hurt or anything like that. It was because of two reasons. One, don't worry, I'm stopped at the lights, by the way. One, the sounds of the airplane were so overstimulating that the whole time I felt very heavy and brain fog. And it was a 3-hour flight, so it wasn't too long, but because I was traveling with my daughter and my husband, I didn't feel that I could take my hearing aids out or in and out conveniently, so I just left them in because, it was a short flight and it just wasn't that convenient because my daughter had to sit on my lap. And anyway, so the sounds of the airplane were just a lot. And then the second thing was the movies on the plane, the captions worked 10% of the time. It was every maybe 20 words, it would pop up with a caption. So Air Transat, do better, because that was awful. And I don't know if you're like me, but headphones aren't loud enough, so I need captions regardless. And on our flight home, it was a night flight, so my daughter slept the whole time, and I just had to sit there because I couldn't really enjoy watching anything because there were no captions. So that was kind of annoying, but I mean, if that was the worst thing about traveling, I think I could call it a successful trip. Now back to the resort portion. So before I even went, I was super worried about how to keep my hearing aids safe and dry and all of this stuff, and I came across a product called Ear Gear, and I brought those with me, and they were a game changer. Okay, I'm gonna do an entirely separate video about Ear Gear and how to use them because I think everybody needs it in their hearing loss toolkit. It is honestly such a fantastic product, and I'm not wearing it right now, but it just slips over your microphone portion of your hearing aid, and it protects from the wind, sweat, dirt, moisture. And I went in the ocean and the pool with my hearing aids on, not fully swimming by any means, but I was standing holding my daughter, and I felt confident and comfortable to do so, which was huge because that was what I was really worried about, was holding my daughter in the water. And because we were constantly in and out of the water, again, it just wasn't super convenient or made sense to constantly take my hearing aids in and out. That made me more worried that I was going to lose something or then maybe get stolen. It was very, very too much. That part was what worried me, and Ear Gear gave me the confidence and they just changed the whole trip and made it great. So definitely check out Ear Gear. I'll make sure there's a link in my section below. But yes, I just rambling because I had such a great time. But if you're thinking about going on a trip or you're worried about going on a trip, just do it, because let me tell you, it is one of those things that until you do it, you don't know how it's going to go. And from my experience, it was a success, and it makes me want to go on another trip. So just be prepared. I took more supplies than I needed to, but just like when you're packing underwear, you take way more than you need to because you're worried about crapping your pants, If you haven't heard that, you know what I mean, right? So it's just take more supplies than you need, take a dry bag if you have one, or take a Ziploc bag or something that you can put them in a dry space if you do have to take them out near a body of water, and just make sure that you have a safe location. When I would take them out, I would use one of my daughter's diapers, and I just wrapped it to make it look like a dirty one. No one's gonna open that. And not that I was concerned about people stealing, but hearing aids are not something I want. Just, and don't throw out the pretend dirty diaper. But it's just one of those things that I was like, you know what, it's dry in there. If it did get wet, it's going to absorb the water, the diaper. So that was one little thing that I was like, yeah, that's a great little spot to save my hearing aid. But yes, just keep in mind when you're traveling that there are a lot of new sounds. That was one thing for me that was not surprising because I knew, resorts had a lot of sound, but it was just one of those things that I had to mentally prepare myself for, that there was going to be a lot of sounds that I didn't know how my hearing aids were going to react. Like the tropical birds squawking. Sometimes my hearing aids would start to ring. So little things like that. Again, not like trip ruining things, but just things you have to kind of think about and prepare yourself for. But yeah, if you're worried about taking a trip or you're thinking about taking a trip, prepare yourself. Message me if you're worried, but just do it, because it was the best thing ever and we can't wait to plan our next one.